Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm here once again with Sadie, and on this video, I'm going to be performing the picking up objects response with Sadie. And here in the background, I'll be sitting in a moment. I have a couple easier objects out to begin to get her to start to become motivated to be able to pick objects up off the floor. So here, we're working on this a little bit. Again, this is something I'm really going to be working on a lot. Okay, this is phase 4, so really starting to switch gears here once again. She's doing well in just about every other area, but again, starting to go on to the picking up objects response part. So I'm going to bring her over here, and I'm just going to get her kind of over here situated. And understand this can be done from a sitting position, okay? And so again, this can be a fun little exercise, but again, it has to take the form. It needs to take the form of a demand, okay? So again, you can, you can start to use a little bit of motivation, okay? But again, you'll notice that this is why when you get dogs that are really full of drive and desire when they're going after, say, a ball, and then you start to, enter the equation, okay, by way just like the parent, and start to assert demand, you'll see things change very quickly. That desire can fall off dramatically depending on how much control the dog had in the first place. So here, again, this is all about Sadie picking up objects when her owner needs her to, okay, not taking the form of bribery, because again, I understand this is about relationship. This needs to take a form of demand, but I will be rewarding her, okay, as she takes the object into her mouth. So here I'm going to start with the easier one. This is just a piece of plastic here. And again, I'll be doing a lot of the putting into her mouth here and praising her. Again, moving towards building her desire to start to move forward and take it on her own. Get it? Get it? Come on, get it. Get it. So if she doesn't want to take it, I will open her mouth up here in a moment if I need to. Okay, good girl, good girl. Now holding, good girl, good girl, good girl, out, good girl. So you see there, so I took that opportunity, all right, her mouth just opened up a little bit, and I just kind of, pushed it into her mouth, but then really switched over to lots of praise and reward at that moment. Now give her a moment here. So again, this is about starting to motivate her to do it, but again, it's a demand, so there is influence. I am forcing her, okay, to accept the object into her mouth. Get it, get it. Good girl, good girl. Holding her mouth here for a moment. Good girl, good girl. I'm going to turn her head a little bit towards you. Out, good girl. So by me turning her head towards me too, I'm starting to shape the response, okay? So here, just by holding it into her mouth, I'm turning her head towards me, and then I'm getting her to release the object. So here, I'll do it one more time. Get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Out, good girl, good girl. So this, again, this is meant to be. You can tell she goes, I don't like doing this type of a exercise because you're telling me what to do. Okay, so again, this is why lots of reward. Okay, so it helps to offset the influence part. But again, it is a demand. Get it, come on, get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Out, good girl, good girl. Now here, as I do this, again, this will take a few times. Okay, but what you start to look for is that type of forward momentum a little bit, okay? You want to take advantage of that. So as I move it out towards her mouth area, my goal is to see if she'll start to, say, hey, you know what? I'm getting a lot of petting out of this. I'm getting praise. Dale never pets me. Okay, I'm just joking. I have on occasion, but I'm really piling it on now. So she's saying, okay, Dale, so I'm saving. It's kind of like saving a reserve wine, okay, for when I really need it. Okay, so now I'm kind of pulling out the reserve wine right now. Because, again, you tell I really don't want to do this. But my goal is to really motivate her through getting lots of praise, lots of reward. But again, this is still following the path of a demand. Okay, so I'm still putting influence into the equation here. Get it, get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Out, good girl. Now you notice there, she did move forward slightly. Okay, she just kind of edged forward a little bit. And even as I do this, I'm not putting a lot of influence through the choke chain or anything. But that's what I'm looking for. I want that little bit of, that's kind of your starting point. because I'll start to draw her down towards the floor more as her desire picks up. Get it. Get it. Her mouth is already open here. Get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Out. Good girl, good girl. And sometimes she'll do that. She could have her mouth open kind of taking advantage of that a little bit, but she's definitely very accepting. It's not like she's trying to knows it's coming, and then some dogs would like tighten their mouth up and say, I'm refusing it. Okay, she's allowing me to do this. Get it, get it, get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, out, good girl. So really getting her situated, and I put her back into a sit. I want to kind of stabilize her, but again, making this really fun. I'll do this again here in a second. Here, say get it, get it. Good girl, get it. Come on, get it. So I'm going to withhold here for a second, any praise or anything. Get it. Come on. I'll let it down. Good girl, good girl, good girl, out, good girl, good girl. So really kind of play it up here a little bit. So it's the point is you want to kind of lay down a little bit too, but again, I want her to be motivated to get this. Dropped it. Come on, get it, get it. Good girl, good girl, good girl, Sadie, good girl. Okay, we're laying it on here. So you get the idea here. Now again, this is the starting point. As I do these videos, okay, you're going to see things really improve dramatically, okay, in short order, because it's all about timing, just knowing how to kind of do this. Good girl, good girl, good girl, out, good girl, good girl. And that's the thing too, is you want to make this just really kind of fun, rewarding, keep it shorter, like shorter little sessions, because then you do a lot of them. So it's like, you know, do a short session like this, very positive, lots of reward, keeping her motivated. But there's times too, you notice I'll kind of pause for a few seconds. I want her to kind of start to reach down a little bit too. So that's kind of a negative in a way, because she's not, then she starts to want the reward. Get it. Get it. Come on, get it. See, come on, get it. Get it. Come on, get it. I want her to reach here a little bit forward. Come on, get it. Get it. Come on, get it. Get it. See, come on. Come on. Come on, get it. Girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Out, good girl, Sadie, good girl. Do it one more time. Now here, I want to end on a kind of a good note with, I want to see if she'll kind of draw down a little bit forward. Come on, get it. Say, come on, come on. Come on, Sadie, get it. Come on, get it. Come on, say, get it. Come on, get it. Come on, say, get it. Come on. Come on. Just kind of hover it here. So I'm just going to hover it, because then it's about choices, right? It's about good girl, good girl, out, good girl, Sadie, good girl. Do one more time. Get it, get it. Good girl, Sadie, good girl, out, good girl, good girl. Do it one more time. She's doing really well. Because again, this is a starting point. So again, what I'm looking for here is a little bit of desire, just a little bit. That's what you're working off of. Get it. Say it. Say it. Come on, get it. Get it. Not going to let her lay down. I want her to stay focused on this somewhat. I'm not putting too much pressure on her either. Say it. Come on. Say it. Come on. Get it. So I'm limiting her options here. Get it. Say it here. Get it. Get it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Out. Good girl. Now I'll stop there. So I'm kind of pushing my luck a little bit right now. And so that's the thing too. Is like when you do this, you want to keep it short. This is a starting point. Really, a lot of the focus in the last, especially the last couple of phases, really getting that vehicle. Now we're hitting the stores. The assist to stand she's doing great with that. And so the picking up objects thing, that'll come very quickly, because that's going to be a lot of my focus the next few days, is starting to get her to really start to pick up objects. So that'll happen pretty quick. But again, she's doing fantastic. Again, this is a starting point, and as we move along, she's just going to keep getting better and better. Thanks for watching.